Hey guys, my name's Niko, and this is what I've been up to this week. So I've been mostly listening to two different records over the last week. The first one is The Stories We Tell Ourselves by Nothing More, and the second one was Mania by Fall Out Boy, which only just recently came out, whereas the Nothing More one actually came out last year. If I talk about that one first, this record is an absolute cracker. I love it. It hooked me the first time I heard it, just because I have always been a fan of that kind of aggressive, emotional vocal style. I really like it when you can hear, when you really hear the emotion in someone's voice, and the singer from Nothing More. If you go listen to them, he conveys a lot, quite a lot through his voice. If you haven't heard of them before, they're from Texas, and they released a self-titled album back in 2014, which was their major label debut, I'm pretty sure. And I loved that record when it first came out. There were a bunch of really huge songs off there. Jenny and This Is the Time were my two favorites. But I felt that record was quite hit and miss. Like, there were some songs that I absolutely loved and just hooked me the first time I heard them. And there were others that kind of felt like they'd been put on there as a filler, this is a major label debut, you have this many songs, you need to fill them all out, kind of thing. That is not the case at all with the new record. The Stories We Tell Ourselves feels very cohesive throughout the whole thing. There's a thread that kind of runs through the whole album in terms of the arrangements and the composition, and the energy especially, that kind of makes it feel like you're listening to one long song, and there's a lot of little short interludes in there. So if you listen to it without listening to the track listing, it's kind of hard sometimes to tell when one song ends and the next one starts. So I would definitely recommend listening to this record as a whole album. From a sound perspective, it's almost like a combination of like Breaking Benjamin and like Rage Against the Machine, I guess. There's some really sort of upbeat, like heavy pushing guitar and a bunch of sort of prog elements in there. A lot more screaming and sort of Corey Taylor-esque shout singing than there was on the first record. But overall, it's a very, very strong second record. These guys are going to be really huge over the next couple of years, I reckon. If you want my recommendation on song to listen to, I really like Funny Little Creatures. I don't think many other people like it, given that it's one of the, at least when I looked on Spotify, it was one of the least listened to tracks on the record, so go check it out. I think I really enjoyed it. So Mania by Fall Out Boy, I've been listening to. And I think the best way to describe this record is actually like the title of the album, honestly, because it is just super high octane. Everything is just cranked up to 100. Like, the first time I listened to the record, I actually had to stop listening to it about maybe 3/4 of the way through, because I was actually fatigued from, just how it's compressed all the way up, and Patrick is like screaming at the top of his voice the absolute limits of his range, the whole record. There's some really big guitars and drums on there. It's personally not my favorite Fall Out Boy record, but I don't know, I'm probably not the best person to ask, because my favorite era of theirs was Infinity on High and Folie à Deux. I feel like that, what they did on those two albums, that almost sort of progressive punk, genre that they kind of created there, was something I was a huge fan of, and I wish they'd continued doing that kind of thing. But, it's totally understandable. Sort of the popularity of pop punk at that time was dying off in a big way, and them and their label, they probably thought that they had to pivot in some way in order to Oh, and they actually broke up and got back together after that record. That would make a lot more sense as well, because a lot of them had different experiences in different bands. The guitarist and the drummer were in the Damn Things with the members of Anthrax, I'm pretty sure, which, you know, would have would influence anyone in a more kind of heavy direction. But yeah, it's not my favorite record, but it's still pretty decent. But be prepared to, you know, it's super high energy, so just, you've been warned. My favorite song in that record, I think, is probably the single "The Last of the Real Ones." As boring as that is, I think it's just a really strong song. It's got a great chorus. Oh, and also the song that I always think is Century's "Champion." That's a good one as well. So I finally managed to sell those two guitars that I was talking about selling a little while ago. My Warmouth Iceman and my Ibanez JS 1200. They have thankfully gone to what I think are great new homes. So hopefully someone else will be making a video somewhere playing those. But anyway, you're probably wondering what those are actually, you know, why I sold those and where I'm going with this kind of thing. And essentially, for Now in Color, which is my new band, I am going to be primarily writing and playing on a 7-string guitar, and the problem is that I don't actually have a 7-string guitar, so I need to buy one. And long story short, I have ordered a guitar from an amazing small Dutch company that makes guitars out of super, you know, space NASA material. The company's called Aristides. Aristides? People pronounce it like that. I saw it on their Instagram listed as Aristides, but yeah, anyway, but unfortunately that's going to take 8 months to build. So I have 8 months in which I'm supposed to be writing and playing 7-string guitar music without a 7-string guitar, without any electric guitar, actually. So what I've decided to do is actually just buy a cheap-ish 7-string, still decent enough, in the meantime. And then I'll just sell it once my nice super guitar gets built or shipped, and then, you know, hopefully that'll line up in a decent way. I'm planning to get an LTD TE 417 maybe. It's basically just a Telecaster, white Telecaster body, but it's a 7-string. EMG pickups should be pretty cool. I'm keen to try it out, so I'm gonna go, I think, pick one of those up, maybe even this weekend. So hopefully in a video next week I'll be able to show you my new guitar. What else? I've been writing a lot of stuff for Now in Color. Oh, I got a new microphone. So I have been wanting for a long time to switch to using a second microphone for my acoustic videos rather than having my acoustic guitar plugged in with a lead, because I don't really like the sound of how magnetic pickups, I think they're magnetic at least. They might actually be piezo. There might actually be a piezo pickup in my Maton that you've seen a million times, but I don't really like how they sound, to be honest. I think acoustic guitars that are plugged in with a lead sound kind of sterile. So I bought a Shure, I don't know how to pronounce it, Shure, an SM81, which is this long thin thing here. It's a small diaphragm cardioid condenser, I believe. And hopefully, I've tried this out already and it sounds pretty cool, but hopefully in my videos it'll sound a bit better. I'm going to have this mounted, pointing towards the sound hole on my guitar, and obviously my big Rode mic for my vocals. So slowly getting towards my ideal kind of setup for recording acoustic stuff, which is awesome. Now I just need a better camera instead of this crappy little iPhone 5. Nah, it's actually fine. And then you can see, you know, I'll get a super HD camera. You can see all the pores in my skin and that kind of thing. If you would really want to do such a thing. Yeah, cool. So that's what I've been up to this week. Got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Hopefully, I'm going to start previewing a bunch of the new Now in Color songs, and we'll get onto the recording. We're actually done recording our single, and now we're just waiting for some album art to be done, and then we'll release it. So, super exciting. Cool, I think that's it. See you guys around. Thanks for watching. Bye.